said, you've done all this amazing stuff. But over the past 18 months, you've really been coming out more online and really, putting your face out there and speaking and
Right.
I feel like you've kind of been more background, and now you're being more on display. So some people might not know your story. So if you can give us a little bit about your story, how you got from, the military to going into the role of a VP, and then going into where you want more freedom, and you're also helping a lot more people get freedom online as well.
Yeah, my story, it goes all the way back to being a kid. I talk about, I won't go into a lot of detail, but who I was as a kid and what I went through, what I experienced as a kid is kind of what shaped me. And I knew that the day I graduated from high school, I was moving out. I couldn't be around my mother anymore. Grew up in a very abusive home. The day I graduated, I never moved home. And while I was out, I was 17. The day after I graduated, I left and started going to school back in that day. And while going to school, I was paying for it all out of pocket. I grew up with a pops, an older guy who came out of the Depression era as a kid. And so he really believed that all of his kids should pay for everything. So I bought my first car, my clothes. Back when I was a teenager, I had 2 paper routes. One was a weekly delivery. The other one was daily. And I also worked at a hamburger joint. My senior year, I quit the hamburger place and went to work for a printing company, just cleaning up at night. And so I carried a lot of this hard work ethic forward because I wanted the cool pants. We didn't have a ton of money as a family, but I wanted the cool pants. And in order for me to have cool pants and cool clothes to wear at school, I had to pay for them. So I worked a lot. It taught me, some good work ethic. Out on my own after I left high school, I was going to school, paying for college myself, and knew I needed a little extra money. My intent was to get my degree and then go into the Air Force and become a pilot. And my junior year, I knew I needed college money. I went down to the Air Force recruiting office and was like, "Hey, I'm ready. I'll head in as a reserve and get that college fund that I can use. I'll finish my degree and then come back and get commissioned." They were all for it. Took the test. Everything was set and ready to roll, but they couldn't get me into boot camp for about 6 months. And so as I'm walking out of the Air Force recruiting office, across the hall is the Marines. No intent on joining the Marines, but I just happened to be looking at some posters. Like your wall behind you, I saw this big poster, this camouflage Marine with a boonie cover and a knife on his chest, and his face is all covered in paint. And as I'm looking at this picture, all I hear is, "What the F are you looking at?" I'm like, "What?" And I peek around the corner and there's this big Marine, ripped guy and his stuff. And he's like, "Hey, get in here." So I'll go in there and we start talking, and, and he's asking me what I'm doing across the hall, because, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy and the Army were all in the same building. They all basically looked in on each other. So as I'm in talking with this guy, he's like, "What are you doing across the hall?" I give him a story, my backstory, my dad, I'm going to be a pilot, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we have airplanes in the Marine Corps." I said, "You do?" He goes, "Oh yeah, we've got jets. We have fighter jets. We have helicopters, transport." He goes, "You can be a pilot in the Marines." I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I said, "Well, I guess when I'm ready, I'll come back." He goes, "When are you ready now?" I said, "Well, I thought so. They can't take me for 6 months." He's like, "Let me get your test results." He goes, "But," he said, "I got one big question for you." I said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" He said, "Are you a man or are you a woman?" I was like, "Well, I'm a man." He goes, "Well, why are you joining those pussies?" Next thing I know, 2 days later, I'm in Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego, wondering what the hell I did to myself. So my 4 years in the Marine Corps, I knew that I did not want to spend a lifetime in the Marines. So I got out of the Marines just after the war, came home, and started going back to school. And met a young lady, and the things that young men and young women do happened, and unexpectedly, we became pregnant, and that required me to quit school. So I quit school, in my junior year of college to go to work full time. So I started working in the tech sector, not in sales or marketing. I started working in a marketing department, but I wasn't, part of the actual marketing team. And so I went to work for this big company called Micron Technology. I was working there and working 2 other jobs, and an opportunity presented itself for me to go to work in the sales industry. And that's where it all started for me. So back in like 1992, I started in sales. And that sales journey for me evolved, but primarily in the tech sector. So I worked in hardware and software and went from just a single sales guy with no responsibilities other than my own to my last job was a VP position at a $350 million manufacturing company running a team of 70 people. And so, I went from just starting in the tech sector to, 20 some odd years later being VP of sales at a technology manufacturing company, a global company, and got tired of that space, the tech sector, all the travel, and became what they call a self-made guy. So I stepped out, found some business partners, and we launched our first software back in 2016. So left the corporate world, 25 years in the corporate space. And 4 years later, started launching, fast forward 4 years to today, started launching our software companies, and in a need to find clients, I got into the digital marketing space. So this is how we ended up here. And, so I have my day gig. We still launch software. I have other companies that I've launched that are still running and flourishing right now. And then on the side, I do some digital marketing stuff. So I do business coaching, business and sales coaching. I do affiliate marketing. I have a course I sell now, a podcast of my own. And so my life has really, really, like you just said, in the last probably 18 to 24 months has really taken off in this digital space. So here, that's where we're at today. And yeah, you're right. Like you had mentioned before, some companies, ClickBank tried to hire me as their VP of sales. And before I told them no, I went to their largest competitor and made them an offer they couldn't refuse and went to work for JV Zoo, running sales for them. Left JV Zoo to go run sales for Jay Shetty. Everybody knows who Jay Shetty is. He has about 50 million social media followers. I'm sure a lot of your followers know who he is. Like you said, he's that monk who left the monkhood in 2016, and he's out telling his journey, his own version of his journey to people. And, obviously his message resonates with people. He has 50 million followers. So I guess he's doing something right. So at any rate, that's kind of my last 25 to 30 years in a nutshell for you.
Wow, man, that's some of that's good stuff to unpack. So kind of going back to as you started moving up the ranks in corporate America, what was some of the biggest or things that kind of helped you to you do good in sales and management in corporate America? What were some of the biggest things that kind of helped you during that path?
And this is something I tell people all the time. You have to have very thick skin when you're in sales, because you just don't know you don't know what that person on the other side is going to tell you. And for me, the worst thing they could tell me was no. Didn't scare me. But I finally, like I said, with that thick skin, I was able to get past all the no's. And it taught me to already be prepared in my mind, because I knew what they were going to have questions about. I already had answers ready to roll. So I became very knowledgeable. All the no's and all the things that they had questions about that I knew could prevent them from buying, I was prepared for, and I had a knowledge base of information that I was ready to roll with. And I think what really, really helped me in sales, and this is something that I try to teach people, is it's the power of connecting. It's not necessarily who I know. I know a lot of really cool people. I know some big names in the corporate space. I've closed some really big deals with some monstrous companies, but a lot of those opportunities did not come from me directly. They came from my network. I reached out to somebody who made the introduction for me. Like I tried forever to get into Walmart, and with a very niche product. At first they didn't want it. I found my way around the guy that kept telling me no. But to get around the guy who kept telling me no, who ran that division, he was the buyer for that division at Walmart Sam's Club, I had to go above him to his boss. The only way to get to his boss was through somebody I knew. And they connected me to his boss. He's like, oh yeah, let me set up a meeting. Let me get my guy on the horn. Next thing I know, I'm on a phone call with the guy who kept telling me no, they're not interested. And I'm sure he was like, this guy. So, here I am sitting in Walmart's corporate office in Bentonville, Arkansas, with the guy who kept physically. Yeah, I've been out there, their office several times. Wow. And so here I'm, you got to fly into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've got to follow for an hour and a half. I've got to follow all these chicken trucks, because it's nothing but chicken farms out there in Arkansas. I hit a highway. You can go north up to the Capitol, or left, you go down into Fayetteville, which is where the college is, and then down on into Bentonville, where Walmart is located. So, I'm sitting in the boardroom, which is really Walmart's corporate office back in the day was an old elementary school. So you go to the front door of the elementary school, which is now Walmart, and you're into these offices. Well, the division I was going to meet with was actually in a maintenance building, a maintenance garage that they turned into the corporate office for Sam's Club. So I'm in this maintenance garage talking with, the head buyer and then the manager for all of Walmart sales in this meeting. I've been out there quite a few times. I've been to, a lot of fun companies over the years. Did a lot of business with Dell. So I'd fly into Texas and then end up in Round Rock. Japan. I've been to Japan several times over there, meeting with manufacturers like Panasonic, Sharp, Canon. Europe.
So what kind of product did you guys have for them? Tech product?
Yeah, back in that day, we were selling OEM. We did OEM manufacturing of printer drivers. So like a couple of big clients for me in the States were Dell with their printers, Lexmark printers, which got purchased, and HP. So we were selling our product to those three companies. I would visit their campuses. I'd meet with the right people. And then I'd go out and meet with their big suppliers, or not suppliers, their big resellers. So folks that were selling the Lexmark printers, the HP printers, the big, large format copiers, Dell's products. And I'd go meet with their largest dealers around the globe and teach them how to use our product, these embedded NIC cards. And then we also had biometric security gear. So back before, it really was a super cool thing back in the tech days for me. Did a lot of stuff in relation to security. So I met with all the 3-letter agencies in our government. I've been inside the Pentagon. I've been inside the CIA's offices, and NSA.
Doesn't the CIA have a lot of companies, like it looked like a tech company or some agency, but really it's like a ghost company, and it's like they're just doing all sorts.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A company that I left, and we can talk about it if you wish, but company, there was 4 of us that started this company called Dark Turtle. And Dark Turtle, we were doing software coding for the Pentagon, federal projects. And it's amazing how many dummy companies, or how many companies that our federal government has set up just to do business with the public sector. And, so you go, like, if you go to, to Chantilly to the CIA office, it's surrounded by nothing but contractors who do business with the CIA. Wow. So it's just what it looks like retail shopping malls. It's just nothing but corporate offices for a whole bunch of other agencies that do work with the government. And same thing, you go to Bentonville, Arkansas, the biggest building in town, this multi-floor building, is nothing but vendors that supply Walmart. Really? They have offices right next door to Walmart's campus.
Man.
So it's pretty crazy to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, when we had the biometric security stuff, it opened up a lot of doors for me. Dell was integrating our technology into their laptops so that you'd have to scan your finger to get into your Dell laptop at the time. So that was a deal that I created for our company. I did the same at HP. I was selling those devices through Costco and Walmart, more to the business sector, so that they could actually secure their the folks who were buying product from them could secure their laptops with a fingerprint reader. So that was technology I was selling back in the day. I was selling it to the U.S. government. I was selling it to foreign governments. So that's what that one device there had me traveling all over the world, talking to some really big names. I was selling those devices. That's how I met Mark Keven. I was in Mark Keven's office in Dallas and sat in the boardroom with him about integrating our technology, which also included retinal scans. So we had fingerprint readers, we had retinal scans, and we were the first one in the market with an odor scan, where this machine would sniff your odor, and you have a unique odor, and it could actually register you in the system based on your unique ID for your odor. Wow. And so, we're selling these security devices to
Big Brother.
Totally Big Brother. I've been inside, Microsoft's corporate office with this technology. With Dark Turtle. So here's the funny thing, Scott, if you're listening, I apologize. I'm giving away our secrets. Scott Jaster, my business partner, Rahul, we started this company. We were creating a project for Scott, and he contracted with us to develop. So my business partner, Rahul, built eBay. He built the eBay app. He built the PayPal app, Nike, Pepsi, Tesla. We've, our little group, our team of software coders has built some really big apps. We've created our own. We were doing some work for Scott on a project, and Scott brought us in on a project himself. He was a software coder, an engineer, software engineer with NASA, found a hole in the federal system. A monstrous hole that people could backdoor their way into the government system, the U.S. government system. They could get in. And obviously the only way they found it was somebody tried tunneling through it. And so Scott, he brought this to the attention of the Pentagon. The Pentagon funded him, a proof of concept. So he spent 2 years proving what was wrong and how we could fix it. Only thing is he needed a team to fix it. And so we came together, we created a company, Rahul, Scott, and myself, and then we brought in a fourth partner called Dark Turtle. And with Dark Turtle, we went in and we, not last June, but the June before, the Pentagon funded that project. We got our initial round of funding of 25 million. We were looking for 2.5 million. They funded it for 25 million. So they gave us a bit more than we needed. And welcome to the U.S. government. And so here we are. We're off and running. We're hiring guys. We're starting to launch our project. And in September of that year, so 2 years ago, September, they dropped another 75 million on us. We didn't need the 25, but we ended up with $100 million raise and got access to a lot of things. And in the process of, we learned a lot of things about our government and some of the things that are going on right now. I mean, I was just like, holy crap. So before it became public that every device on a network that has a camera or a microphone on it can be turned on without your consent, because that's what the Patriot Act did. When the Patriot Act went into effect, it allowed our U.S. government to listen anytime they want to. Whether your phone is on or not, they can turn it on and listen. And so, there's a lot of things I learned when I was with Dark Turtle that didn't necessarily set well with me. And so I left. And that was more of an ethics thing for me, because the things that I was privy to and the things that I knew that were coming and what we could do, I didn't want to be a part of it. So I left. I left Dark Turtle about a year and a half ago, almost.
But they still have that's still funded project. They're still working on all this stuff.
Yeah, it's set to fly in about a year. The project, the beta is done. So beta, I mean, Scott has reached out. Scott, I was going to be the head of sales. Anybody, doesn't matter who you are, from Microsoft down, doesn't matter who you are, you have to use our software we're writing if you want to sell to the federal government. This is it's going to be massive. I mean, it's going to be, I walked away from hundreds of millions of dollars, but it was about ethics for me. And, certainly I did not want to be a part of something like this. By the way, to the NSA, you can hear this right now anyway, because we're on a thing. I haven't given away any of your secrets.
And so speaking of that, I mean, we're both government servants and we both love our country. Julian Assange and what are your thoughts on Julian Assange and also who's the NSA?
Snowden. Edward Snowden.
What's your thoughts on them too?
I got to be honest with you. I learned a lot. I served with the president when I was in the Marines, and I know you guys are listening again. I'm not going to give away any of this stuff. Had a top secret clearance, and I actually, when I left, the CIA came in and gave me I had a briefing when I got my clearance, and I had a debriefing when I left the Marines, because serving with the president, you have access to the president and you have access to a lot of information, like, where the president's going to be in 90 days. It doesn't go public until hey, the president's in Greece today. Well, that stuff we know months in advance. So we're privy to a lot of information. And so for me, I learned a lot. I mean, we'd have chiefs of staff, all sorts of folks aboard our helicopters. So if you see the helicopter unit land at the White House, that was my unit. So we'd have, the president, the VPs, joint chiefs of staff, foreign heads of state. We'd have all sorts of people on there. I was privy to conversations that I can tell you I did not support. I mean, our government plans things long in advance. Trust me. I mean, we knew we were going to war with Iraq 3 years before we went to war with Iraq. These things are planned. They're well thought out. Stories are told. Media, people have to buy in on it. Oh my gosh, they did what? They've got weapons of mass destruction. We have to go get them. So
Yeah.
these are the kind of things. So for me, it's not that I'm like, it's not nothing like I'm anti-government. I'm just more about ethics. And I really, so yes, I'm a veteran. I'm a very proud veteran. I'm proud that I joined the Marines. I support anybody who has served in our military, but there's also a little piece of me that's like, screw the government, because there's some stuff that I was privy to. So I don't necessarily trust my government. I don't necessarily trust that the stuff that's being fed to us through the media is the truth either. And so, that's kind of hard for me, going back to your Julian Assange and your Snowden. I think those guys are me. They went to work. I guarantee you when Snowden went to work for the CIA, he didn't go to work for the CIA so he could give away their secrets.
Yeah.
He went to work because he was a proud guy. He was a smart guy. I mean, to be selected to go to work at the CIA for what he's doing in the computer biz, he's got to be wicked smart. And he's got to know what he's doing. So he's brought in. He found out while he was there what was going on, the rights of the citizens that were being violated because of the Patriot Act. And he exposed it. I mean, that's what he did. He exposed what our government was doing to its people. I don't consider him a traitor for doing so. I don't, in my personal opinion. Now, I'm sure a lot of folks would be like, oh, hell yes, he's a traitor. Hang him. He's not. But that's my opinion.
Do you think Trump will ever pardon him?
Pardon me?
You think Trump will pardon him if he went?
I think he will. There's somebody's putting it together now. I saw a senator in DC is putting together an initiative now to pardon both Snowden and Assange.
Because I know Obama actually was mad, and he was like, no, we need to take him down. And and when you think about it, it's like
all those secrets that Obama doesn't want out there.
Yeah, I was like, he probably doesn't want him, giving more information.
And a lot of those secrets have come to life, like in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of drops have hit. A whole bunch of emails are released. I'm not going to mention it right now because I don't want your Zoom to get shut off on Facebook. But there is one story right now that is being 100% shut down on Facebook. You can't even post it now. Big influencers who are sharing it have had their Facebook accounts shut down this morning.
Even the press secretary. But the thing is about all this stuff, it's like, how can, apparently 4 years ago, they said that people were trying to, Trump and all these people were trying to influence the election. And then here we are 4 years later, and it's the people that are accusing that are actually doing the very thing that they're accusing.
It's the social media platforms right now and media, but social media and the media are influencing. And
they're influencing the election.
They're controlling information. They're totally influencing it. And a lot of big name people who have massive followings are being turned off because they're sharing this.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw this morning, there's a guy named John Burke. He's a social media influencer, Army veteran, war vet, has a massive following. And he was mentioning this morning on his page that another buddy in the space who has an even bigger following. I mean, John Burke has millions of followers. This guy has an even bigger following. He posted this article that went live about a certain presidential candidate's son and his involvement in an Eastern European deal. Mm-hmm. And his Facebook account was shut off. They didn't just take his thing down or ban him. They shut his Facebook page down.
Yeah.
It's crazy what's going on right now. It's absolutely crazy.
And kind of, and like that's even kind of similar of like what happened to you, and you don't have to go into details, but just it's like some people have their whole livelihood, built on Facebook. Like I most of my organic, how I make money is mainly through Facebook. And I mean, obviously I'm having foresight and obviously seeing what's going on. Like I like Facebook. I have a lot of friends on Facebook. I mean, pretty much everyone. So it's like, I want to be here, but it's at the same time, it's like, sometimes I'm like, am I targeted just because I'm a Christian or just because I'm conservative or
absolutely
I'm a veteran?
Well, think about it, Eric. Your message, whether that's a Facebook post, a live, whatever you speak, you attract and repel with it. So whatever you put out, unless it's just it's just fun and entertainment, but anything that steps outside the realm of fun and entertainment, it starts getting into some of those heated topics. It could be religion. It could be politics. It could be a myriad of things. gay marriage. I mean, that topic right there. As soon as you throw out something and you voice your opinion for or against, you are both attracting and repelling your audience. So for me, like you were just talking about, I had a recent post up that I thought was just fun and entertaining. Come to find out, some folks didn't take it that way. One of which, who's another influencer in the digital marketing space, called me out on her Facebook page. Her following, her tribe, were like, oh, no, he didn't. And they came to my Facebook page and went crazy on that post, and called me all sorts of things that I am not, but they did. And, and then they went through and they started right-clicking, reporting all sorts of things on my Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And in a matter of 10 days, I had been shut down and blocked on Facebook 3 times. The first one was for 24 hours. The second one was for 24 hours. The third one was for 72 hours. This one, I exited my 72-hour you can't do anything on Facebook with a notice that said I can no longer run Facebook ads or go Facebook Live for 30 days. The next one is a 7-day ban on Facebook and 90 days of not being able to run ad traffic. The next one is a 30-day and I can no longer run Facebook ads at all. So, right, people who agree with you are great. The people who disagree with you, you're probably still great, but you've turned into social justice warriors and you are affecting people's livelihoods by some of your actions and your behaviors. So I will just say that this world, this country of ours, we sure need a hell of a lot more just love and understanding versus all the hate. I mean, you and I may differ in ways, we may be similar in ways. But the beauty of it is, if you and I were to sit down and have an actual conversation with each other, we'd probably find we align a hell of a lot more than we don't. And, and I think that would be the case with everybody else. Mm-hmm. Having a sensible discussion with somebody about a topic will help you understand them and help them understand you. And you may find common ground and a hell of a lot less hate for each other, like what's going on right now, because everybody is so quick to jump up and defend. And in the process of doing so, they're missing that opportunity to actually connect with somebody and maybe find some common ground. So that's just my opinion on that subject.
Yeah. When I look, and if you look at even like, I mean, obviously history, history was one of my favorite subjects growing up. And then, I have the Constitution right here. And just when you look at like the elites in different countries, whether it's socialist or whatever countries, and when you see like people who, like some of these people who want to say, hey, the earth is overpopulated. We need to,
right.
We need to, create chaos
in the herd,
control out of chaos. And we need to do this stuff. They actually, most of the 90% of Americans, actually, we want a better upbringing for our kids, want to raise our kids in a good place. We want to have a place to live. We want to have freedom to, enjoy life. And we want to just be able to have, be able to get educated and be able to get, go to work and hopefully earn, a decent living and get some skills and stuff.
Right.
And so everyone has like that same, so it's like people, they're just like shaking everyone up and making everyone fight against each other. It's like, really, those people actually are in the same thing. They're like, hey, these people are the ones screwing everyone up. It's like, we're all in the same thing, whether I'm like Mexican, like we're struggling in this area, we're struggling, whatever, I'm white, whatever. And so it's people just trying to shake everything up. These people who really, they have this mentality, like, us average people or whatever, average Americans are just stupid. They can't think for themselves.
Right.
We need to make decisions for them. And
right.
Those are actually, when you look at it, libertarian conservative, they're less government making decisions
Absolutely.
for you. Less,
right.
You own your land. You don't get taxed much on your land. You don't get taxed much on your business, because if I do all the work in my business or my property, I don't want them taxing my property to where, they could just take it from me if I don't pay them, then you really don't even own your property, because if you don't pay property tax, they could take it away.
Yeah. I've got a buddy who, it doesn't matter what he sends, at the bottom of everything, it says taxation is theft. So he's right. He's a libertarian, and everything doesn't matter, and he won't deviate. And I agree with him. Taxation is theft.
It is.
I mean, we're so heavily taxed in this country. Problem we have is, depending upon who's in office, we get taxed more. And, we're already heavily taxed in so many different ways. As a small business owner, the income bracket that you fall into, we tend to, if you look at the middle class carries the country. The rich, they have tax shelters.
Yeah.
They are taking advantage of the laws, like Trump. And everybody's, their complaint that he only paid $750 in taxes.
But
I'm
yeah,
sure when it was all said and done, he paid millions in taxes through his business.
Yeah.
So on that side of it, he's taking advantage of a system that was in place before he got there. Mm-hmm. So he's using, one of the biggest tax shelters for anybody is real estate.
Yeah.
Owning real estate is a massive tax shelter.
Because even if it appreciates, you can always count it as depreciating because it's older.
Absolutely. There's so many things you can write off against real estate ventures and different things. I'm a tech guy. We've got tech companies. I can use R&D tax credits to my advantage. Research and development tax credits are tax credits I can take back against our companies or for our companies when we file, which reduces the amount of tax we pay at the end of the year using. So there's all sorts of these things that are been put in place long before our current president got there. He's using a system that was built. Folks probably don't want to hear this. He's using a system that was built during the Obama administration and during the Bush administration and the Clinton administration. All those things were put in place to help those folks who have money. When you look at it, the vast majority of senators and representatives that get to DC were not millionaires when they got there. They're millionaires when they leave.
Yeah.
They get there and they know exactly how to use that system to their advantage. They get us, the people, to argue and fight for and go to battle, on social media with each other on topics that they think are heated, and they are. They got the country hating itself right now. Everybody in the country hates each other. The problem we have is the Democrats and the Republicans are in bed together. Behind the scenes, they are in bed together.
Yeah.
So, and the fastest way to prove this is go look at each president and the donations that funnel into them for their campaigns. Of the top 10 donors to each campaign, about 6 of them are the same companies.
Wow.
They're hedging their bets on who's coming into office. So big pharma, they throw money at the Dems, they throw money at the GOP because they need them in their pocket come election time. Whoever gets elected, that's who they want. So, Wall Street, Chase, the banks, all those folks, they're putting money, the same amount of money into both candidates because they need to be in that candidate's pocket when they get elected. Then they get into office. And like I said, behind the scenes, I was elected twice in the GOP party in Idaho. So I held 2 terms here. Even at the local level where I was elected with my little city or my little county, I was with the county. The amount, it's so crazy. The amount of folks that are in your face trying to buy you at that level is amazing. I can't believe what it's like at the Fed. Oh my gosh. You've got so many money people that are trying to get your vote. Hey, let's go have drinks. Let's go have dinner. They want to get in your head and they want to buy your mind space. So if you do move up the ranks, if you do end up at the city, the county, or not the county, the state, or at the federal level, they got to you way early.
And so it's like it's like a legal version of the cartel.
Absolutely. These special interest groups buy you early, just in case you do end up, like at the state level or at the Fed level. And so they're in your pocket very early on. Now, when you start to go up in rank, when you become a state senator or a governor or a lieutenant governor or any of these titles, when you start to go up, they start to spend a little more money on you. But back where I was at my little local level for 2 terms, they were always entertaining you. Little gifts here. Hey, can you use concert tickets for such and such concert? Yeah. Heck yeah, I can. So they buy your mind share early, and then they own your mind share as you move up through the ranks. So these guys go in poor, they come out rich. It's for a reason. And then they walk out, they leave DC, they leave state positions and step into big money positions when they get out because they were bought by those corporations. So a lot of them go back and get paid millions and millions of dollars to work that circuit, to be in that space.
That's why you see people, old VP, running Ukraine relations, and then
Right.
hey, my son who is a coke addict gets
Hey,
$60,000
the
a
crazy
month.
thing is old Biden Jr. there, the little guy. So his fund, he didn't have a mutual fund. He didn't have a fund. His fund was started when he took $1.5 billion from China.
Wow.
China invested $1.5 billion in little Biden's new company, which is a fund that invests. And then the Ukraine or Russia, I forget, they're all the same, USSR, they invested in him as well. And he personally took money from, what is she, the mayor? Her and her husband
Mayor.
owned the largest company in the country.
Is that the
And
Burisma?
yeah. And he took millions from her direct.
Wow.
So $1.5 billion into his fund, and direct, he took millions. And that's what the articles are all about today.
Yeah.
It's the email trail, and it shows in the email trail the Democratic presidential candidate was a part of it.
And he came to the White House, or like
Right.
he said that he came to White House. Thanks for introducing me to your dad. It's
Right.
just it's a big thing. But I want to add value for what we can practically do now. Post COVID, whatever.
Right.
They're still
Right.
trying to make it go on. Hopefully the election happens and they just say, we just use COVID for the election. We're done with it. Hopefully, but during this time when people the job market's, I mean, there are jobs out there, but I mean, I don't know, the job market's a little crazy out there. So for people listening that are like, Keven, you've made $300,000 over the past, 18 months, just doing affiliate marketing and having, adding value to people and connecting to people and bringing people into your links. And, how does one get into that space, and how does one start earning residual passive income through,
Yeah.
say, getting your own funnel up of, hey, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, or I teach, people how to plant plants, or I teach people how to paint. How does
Right.
a person take their gift and put it, in a website? And a big thing I love right now is Groove. So if you can even touch on Groove and kind of what all they're doing, that'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
the beauty of the digital space is, and I won't go back into politics, but we just came through the biggest transfer of wealth ever in the last 6 or 7 months. Meaning the rich got like extremely richer because small businesses have been closing.
Wow.
So if you keep it shut down, they can't open. Well, you still got to buy. Where are you buying from? I mean, Jeff Bezos just
Amazon.
grew. Yeah, he grew like 30% in his net worth. Just
Dude,
over the
I heard he bought like all these new planes, and they're just shipping like crazy planes.
yeah.
I see their
Yeah, and
trucks.
that's the other thing too. I mean, Bezos is such a businessman that he's even eliminating all sorts of resources like that. He's been using UPS and the postal service for years. That's
Oh,
how he's
wow.
moved all of his product. Jeff Bezos is starting his own shipping company. So
Yeah.
Amazon is buying its own fleet of planes. They'll be flying their own products, and they're going to be moving away from having to use UPS
Wow.
and FedEx and all these companies moving forward. So in the shift and everything that's going on right now, a lot of things have moved to a very digital space,
Mm-hmm.
which includes, I mean, there's a lot of folks right now out there who are either without a job because they lost it, or they're headed there.
Mm-hmm.
They're hurting. I think the numbers have gone up for the amount of people who actually have $1,000 or less in their savings account.
Mm-hmm.
That number is vastly bigger than it was before COVID. So there's a lot of folks that are, this close to being destitute, being homeless. And so there's a big shift. And I was just having this conversation with a friend last night. Jen and I were talking, and I was like, she's worried about her job. She works for a big construction company up in Seattle. And we were talking about this. I said, you have so much expertise in marketing at the corporate level. Well, there's a lot of folks crushing it in the digital marketing space who had no marketing experience before they got here. They just learned, and they're telling their story, and in the process of learning, they're selling, like they teach you, be 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the people you're teaching. As long as you're a couple of weeks ahead of them, you're ahead of them. They think you're the expert. Well, I said, I've known her for 6 years, 5 years. And she's doing the same thing today she was doing then. She's a marketing expert. I said, take your brain trust, the power you have up here, and let's put that into a course for you and really go talk about branding, true branding and marketing. And so we were talking this out for you guys that are listening. I mean, you can be building a business on the side before you have to have a new job. So you can start looking at stuff like I was, talking with you about before we got on the microphone here. What I do in the digital marketing space is in addition to what I already do. We're software developers by day. I have a big CBD company that we launched in December. It's taken off. It's doing really well. Part of that is we're in discussions right now. I can't disclose because we're under an NDA with the company, but a very large energy drink company is trying to either invest in us or buy us. And so here we are, with the day gig, but on the side, just doing side stuff, affiliate marketing, launching my new my digital course. Like you had mentioned, that's about $300,000 in profit to me over the last 18, 19 months, part-time on the side. So become an expert. Yeah. Take what you are really good at, what you are passionate about. Hey, Eric, what would you wake up tomorrow morning and want to do the first thing out of? I mean, what's one thing that you are that passionate about? Well, turn that into something you can sell and become a digital marketing expert or a digital expert or a course expert or something that would get you out of bed every day so that, should I lose my job or have I lost my job, I can create a space. And the beauty of this is in this digital marketing space, it's you behind a computer. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in my office. Everything I do right now in my life, I do right here from behind my MacBook. Doesn't require me to go to an office. I can work from home. All I need is internet and electricity, and I can work. And so for those folks, they can do the same thing. If you've got internet and electricity, which you do, you're watching this, come into the space. I mean, learn from Eric. Come, Eric's got a free software he can get you set up with called GrooveFunnels. Get signed up with GrooveFunnels through Eric and then start using that software. It's free. You guys listen, it's free to start building out an offer, start building out and learn. Come into the groups, go into the GrooveFunnels group, go into their competitors groups and learn and ask and figure out what people are doing. Oh yeah. Hey, how did you do that? And people will share that information with you and you learn. And then next thing you know, maybe you buy a $100 course or $1,000 course that teaches you everything you needed to know about that space. And then you go and tell your story, your version of, in a way that resonates with people. You find your audience and you start selling to them. Maybe I'm a construction worker and I don't want to do construction next year, but I've got a lot of expertise in handyman stuff. Well, hell, go teach handymen how to be better handymen in a course. These are the things and did you know, and if you did this, and if you, these different things, take the stuff that you have stored up here in your brain trust and put that out and people will want to buy it. So, they can come into your group, you can teach them. They can go into the GrooveFunnels group and learn from there. They can use a free you can use a free software to drop a landing page or a sales funnel, as we call it. Think web page. You can drop that. They've got a e-commerce back into it. So you can actually, if you want to, you can start selling other people's products through your e-commerce store in a way that resonates with people. Maybe you're a hunting expert and you have a hunting following. You can start selling e-commerce products in the hunting space to your following and make more money on top of what you're already doing. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do in this digital marketing space.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, there really is like, and I feel like even though, there's a lot of, there's a lot of chaos, division, or what seems like it in the physical, I feel like in the supernatural, God is doing something where he's teaching people that they have gifts inside them, they have talents inside them. Like you said, you've done this for 20 years and you felt like, like Robert Kiyosaki, you just, you wanted the paycheck, it's safe, it's guaranteed, but now nothing is as safe or guaranteed anymore. I mean, just like back in 2008, 2009 during the housing market. And it's like, when things aren't safe and guaranteed, what is safe and guaranteed is, you believing that you can go and earn money by adding value, by serving people, by going out there in the marketplace and being like, hey, you need help in marketing. hey, is your business struggling? Let me offer you, a free coaching call. Let me offer you a free marketing analysis of your website. Let me
Right.
offer you a free, branding, like a little outlook. And you start sharing your tips and your expertise with people. And they're like, hey, why don't we just hire you on our staff? Or why don't we just
Right.
hire you
Right.
on contract to do our marketing? And so there's these things that I'm learning about just adding value and just really just going in there with the heart to serve people, and money just follows you as you do that. So what's your
Absolutely.
take on that?
I've got a good buddy in this space. His name's Jeremy Kovatana. And in fact, Jeremy and I are launching our own agency together. We're setting that off on Friday.
Nice.
2 years ago, when I met Jeremy, he had just come out of his bankruptcy. So he filed a bankruptcy. 90 days later, it was behind him. So he's moving forward now. He just exited his bankruptcy, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do with his life. He had insurance licenses. He had an accounting degree. He was an accountant by trade, but he was selling insurance. And while he was sitting there selling insurance, we were sitting in a room together. He had an epiphany. He was like, oh my gosh, what I'm learning here, I can use to go and hunt and find insurance leads for people like me. He goes, you know what would help me be a better insurance agent? More leads. So he got started in November of 2018. And he really started to kick it off in January. So this January will be 2 years that he's been in business with the Lead Gurus. Jeremy just passed. You guys think about this. 2 years ago, he just came out of bankruptcy. He was living in his in-laws' garage. 2 years later, he just passed 7 million in revenue. So in 2 years, he's generated over 7 million in revenue, and he is doubling his revenue month after month now. So he is going to be at a rate that probably in the next 18 months, he'll have done $14 million in revenue.
And is he still sticking with the niche, or is he training and coaching now?
Yeah, he still does Lead Gurus. I was just over at his office a couple of days ago. What he was doing on a national, global scale is still going. He still does lead generation. He does lead generation now for mortgage, for real estate, for insurance. And then he started this little program, which he calls Bring Back Boise. And it's for local business owners that have been crushed by COVID. And so he said, hey, look, are you in a position I can help? Here's my offer. Come in. We'll turn you into, in your space, your niche, your office, whatever it is you were doing. We'll turn you into your local expert. And so he's coaching, doing videos, creating content with these folks. They're coming into his studio just down the street from me. They're coming in, and he's actually, they're paying him thousands of dollars to come in, and he's turning them into the digital hero for their space as a local business owner. And so he's doing this. And so he and I, we've been talking for a while about doing something. And so we're launching our own done for you agency. It'll be a digital deal where we'll take a business owner from point A to point Z, and we'll do everything for them. We build a funnel, help them write the copy, create the content, run Facebook ads, Google ads, all this stuff for them. It's not cheap. It's, there's another guy in this space who's doing it. He calls it Offer Lab. It's our version of that. So for a business owner to get in, it's 25 grand to have this all done for them, but it's a $25,000 investment in their business. We're going to do everything in our power to close. If Jeremy can find leads in the insurance industry and be crushing it and make, 7 million in the last 21 months, he can do some serious stuff in relation to lead generation in other spaces. So we've thought, okay, we'll take the best of what I know, the best of what he knows, bring it together and create something. So we're doing what I'm telling all your listeners to do. Take the best of what you know, and if you need to, partner with somebody else.
Yeah.
And take the best of what they have and go out and launch something together, or launch your own thing. Become the next Eric. Eric now is building his audience, his folks that engage with him, and he's teaching and he's coaching and he's doing affiliate marketing. You can be doing the same kind of things. You just need to step into the space, get to know what's going on, how best to do it, and launch.
Yeah. And so what do you, for people who are like, man, I feel like I'm just, what I've noticed, and with myself and just with people who, I've coached, or people who just ask me. It's usually a mindset thing. Is like, oh, how do I price this? Like, do I have value in myself? And so for people who just want to, they really need to overcome that mindset.
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome, or who am I? Or
right. Here's the crazy thing. I have almost 30 years of experience in the corporate space, whether that's my own software companies or working for other tech manufacturing companies in the hardware and software space. When I first came into this space and thought I was going to create a course, I had massive imposter syndrome. Even though I have almost 30 years of experience in the industry, I've run sales teams of 70 people and taught people how to sell, how to build relationships, how to get in boardrooms with Mark Keven, how to be in the boardroom at Microsoft. I teach this stuff to my sales teams. I had imposter syndrome, and trying to put that together in a course. I told people I was going to launch this course. I just launched this month. Mm-hmm. I told people I was going to launch this course almost 2 years ago. And I talked myself out of it for 2 years because I got in my own way. I teach people all the time to get the hell out of your own way, get out of your head. There's impactful things you can be doing. Start doing them. And I was failing myself. And I finally woke up one day, and actually it was my son. My son's like, Dad, you are 100 times smarter than 99% of the people in this space. And you sit and watch people make millions of dollars doing what you should be doing. He's like, why do you let that stop you? And I was just like, I don't know. He's like, stop, Dad. Just go tell your story. Go help people. And so I finally did. Here's what I did. Here's the crazy thing. I've got ADD, massive ADD, and it's really hard for me to stay on point with something.
Me too.
Yeah. Like I've got 200 books around here. I don't think I've read the full book on any of them because of my ADD brain. I just can't. I check out. And I'm sitting here one day, and my buddy across the street's like, hey, get inside and make those videos. Cause he knows what I need to be doing. I'm like, go to hell. I'm working on it. He's like, no, he's been saying it for months. Jaime, my Marine Corps buddy across the street. And one day he comes over. I know, sorry, my dog's gonna freak out. He's like, knock, knock, knock. I'm like, oh crap. I know that gentle knock. I know who the hell it is. It's Jaime. I open the door. What's up, brother? He goes, where's your sign? Because I have a sign up on the door. It says when I'm recording, do not disturb recording in progress. He goes, where's your sign? So it's right here. Why? He goes, get to work. You need to be recording those videos. Get them done now. And I was just like, dude. He's like, no, stop. Keven, just get it done. I'm like, fine, I'll go record one. I had to commit to it. I said, I'll go record one. So I pulled the tape off, stuck it on the front of the door. I said, don't mess with me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go record a video. He's like, okay. This is like 1 PM. Mm-hmm. He walked away. I closed the door. I went and showered because I didn't want to be that ugly on camera. So showered, my brand has been a hoodie. I don't know why. I walk around these events. If I'm not wearing a hoodie, glasses, or a hat, people don't recognize me. So I put on all this crap. I get on the camera and I started to record my first video. I put that video out. And as soon as I was done and clicked end, I edited it real quick. I saw that one complete video of the 30, I think I had 32 videos I needed to record for this course. The first one was done. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn, I did one. I didn't stop. I turned my phone on. Silent. I shut down any noise and I just continued. That first day, I think I knocked out 13 or 14 videos.
No way. In one day?
In one day.
Like half of the content?
I just said, screw it. And I got busy and I got them done. I got up the next day and I put the sign up on the door and I was just like, I'm shutting everything off again. So what took me 2 years to finally get to, I knocked out in about 3 days.
Wow.
In about 3 days, I completed this entire course. This is the thing, you guys, if I had put that to the course 2 years ago, imagine where I could be today. I waited 2 years to launch something that I knew I had in me. And so I finally knocked this whole thing out and I continue to add to it. Some of the videos I don't necessarily like, so I'll pull it down after I upload a refreshed version of it. But now I've got my course out there and I can go in and I can click. I've got 8 modules with all the units inside it. I can click and say, hey, I've got 6 finished units in module 1. Module 2 has 8, and this one has 3, and then this one has, and so I've got all these units that started to stack up. Here's the thing that got me. When I started to see it coming to fruition, when I started to see my course getting complete, it hit me. I was like, holy crap, I have something to sell now. For 2 years, If somebody had asked you or asked me or asked somebody who knew of me, hey, what does Keven Steven do? They'd be like, well, we don't know. He's just wicked smart guy that talks business. But what does he sell? Well, for 2 years, I sold nothing other than affiliate marketing stuff. And I sold private coaching. I would coach people, for $2,000 a month. And I gave them the same kind of business and sales coaching I would give my sales teams. But outside of that, I had nothing to offer until this month. And I finally have a digital course I built that people can buy. The only problem I have is everybody's like, Keven, you need to price that at $997 more. And I can't. I've got it priced at $97. The reason why is we're coming out of probably one of the worst economic downturns in a long time. I came through the last one, 2008, 2009, forced me into bankruptcy. I had $1 million bankruptcy back in 2011 because of what happened to me in 2009. I don't want people to have to, if it's your last $1,000, I don't want you to have to spend your last $1,000 to learn from me. So I price it what I think is probably well below the value, but I want to give, I want to make a little bit of money doing it. But, and this is the reason why, and I don't tell anybody this story, and I don't even know if we're friends anymore, but there was a gal that reached out to me about 2 years ago and said, hey, everybody said I need to talk to you about a software idea that I have. I said, yeah, I'm going to put together a course, and it's going to be everything you need to launch your own software, how to build a business plan. I'm giving you the business plan outline, and here's the plan you've got to build it into. I'm giving you the financial deck outline. Here's what you need for investors and what they're going to want to see when you go to pitch your idea. This is everything they need. So I'm going to give you that and the financial deck to build that into. I'm going to give you the pitch deck outline. I'm going to give you the base. Here's your pitch deck. I think it was 14 slides. These are the things they're going to want to know about your idea to go pitch it to an investor. And then had some other things that I threw in there for them. So it was like a 5 or 6 deal, and included coaching with me. And she said, how much is that? I said, I'm going to charge $3,000 for this, but I'm going to get you all the way through to the point where you're ready to go pitch your idea. Everything from business filings to the pitch deck, to the business plan, to the financials. It's all done for you with me. I coach you through it. You're off and running. And she's like, can I get you on a call with my husband on Saturday when we both don't have to work? I was like, sure. So they're on a couch. We sat for 3 hours and talked about everything. I swear to you, I'm not embellishing this in any way. We literally sat for 3 hours and talked. They live right outside DC, and Myra's her name. And so anyway, Myra's from Pakistan. They didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know that. And so they bought in on the course. She said, Keven, I can't give you all the 3,000 right now. I can give you half of it now, and I can give you the other half next month. I was like, no problem. Let's do this. And so we did it. They sent the money, and they didn't share their story with me. We're talking. We're building this out. They're taking their time. And I was like, Myra, I need you to get this stuff to me. Let's get this done. I was calling her out, making, her responsible. She said, sorry, I had to take a second job. And so it's been cutting into my time. I'm like, second job? What's going on? And she's like, well, money's tight. My husband got laid off. And so I took a second job while he's trying to find a job. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And so we're sitting on this call, and she starts explaining it to me. And she's like, don't worry, I've got your money. We just sold our wedding ring, so we're going to make the next installment. I'm like, what'd you do? And she's like, this hit me. I was like, you did what? She said, well, we wanted to make that next payment. We had to pay you the next half, so we sold our wedding rings. I was like, can you get your wedding rings back? And she's like, I don't know, because she sold them to a pawn shop. Mm-hmm. And I was like, go get your wedding rings back. I said, and I refunded all of the money that they paid me. I refunded it all back to her. And it hit me. I was like, there are a lot of people who are struggling and going through some really hard times, and they're willing to invest the last dollar they have in their dream.
Yeah.
I don't want to be their last dollar, which is why I was like, I can't go charge $1,000 for a course. $97. I hope everybody can afford that. But my reason I bring that up is I wanted to help more people. I wanted to help Myra 2 years ago. There are a lot of Myras out there that, they're on their last. I mean, think about it, man. How many people, the number of people who have less than $1,000 in their savings account right now is greater than it was before COVID. Yeah. It's the largest numbers ever. There are a lot of people who are hurting and struggling that maybe have a great idea they can be selling online. They maybe have something that could turn them from a Jeremy who just came out of bankruptcy, living in his in-laws garage, has no money, to 2 years later, he's closed over $7 million in business.
That's
amazing. it can be done. So yeah, so that's the space I'm in right now. Is I finally have something to offer. People finally be able to say, "Oh yeah, Keven, he
So
has connector
everyone,
secrets."
that is a steal. That's amazing, Keven. I dropped in the comments, connectorsecrets.com, dropped in the comments on all the everywhere this is shared. Go get that, $97. And man, that is just awesome and generous, Keven.
Yeah, get the course. I teach and I continue to drop more nuggets, things that I remember. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember when I took the Top Gun sales course. It was taught by Navy fighter pilots, Top Gun fighter pilots.
Wow.
Yeah, and they taught mental strength, mental fortitude, things that you need. You know, this is 25 years ago when I went through that course. So I start to remember these things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that piece can be a video that can talk people through, hey, did you know, and this is what you need, and this is the tools you're going to need to get through some of your struggles and things along that line. So I think it's well worth the 97. You guys, listeners, people that, you know, are hearing this, that course is great. I'm proud of it. And there'll be a lot more added into it. But what you really need to do is you need to connect with Eric, and you need to get started with the software, GrooveFunnels. GrooveFunnels is free to sign up. That will help you start to build and launch your business. So if you have an idea that you think you can get out to the masses and help educate and teach people with, get the GrooveFunnels software. Eric has a link for you. Get started.
That's awesome, Keven. Man, I really appreciate this meeting today. Thank you for your time. And man, this has been cool, from government to CIA to technology. And regarding just for people, the future of, technology, and, we see censorship, press secretary got her Twitter account blocked. What do you see over the next few years? I mean, obviously we need more obviously people creating software that are going to be more unbiased. We need that.
Yeah, we definitely need software out there, platforms, social media platforms that stick to the Second Amendment, your freedom of speech. First Amendment, freedom of speech. Sorry,
Second Amendment is one of my favorites.
Yeah, we need freedom of speech platforms. People should not be stifled. What you think and speak should not be regulated unless it's hate. If it's hate, yeah, let's take it down. But outside of that, let people be people. And the beauty of it is we don't have that right now. Twitter shutting people down, Facebook shutting everybody down. So all the social media platforms where people like to engage with audiences are being turned off. Here's the one thing I want to suggest to everybody, and it's something I learned over the last 14 days now. Build your list, build an email list, because if you do get shut down on Facebook, if you've got a list of people who are still engaged with you, you can still email. You'll always be able to email your list and communicate with people. So that way you don't completely lose your revenue stream. You've got an email list that you can contact while you find your next space to be found online.
And then even like building an encouragement I would have is what I'm learning as well. Like what Keven, I'm seeing what's happening. I've been my last 5,000 friend account and 1,000 followers on Facebook. I still can't get it. I try to, email them. This is this account's like 6 months old. So I mean, I've all my Facebook groups and all my old business pages got deleted with it because I was the only admin. If you do have an admin, add your wife as admin or add a friend as admin.
Absolutely. I just did that.
Yeah.
I just added somebody else who has admin rights over all my stuff now.
Because you won't lose it if you get ghosted or they just delete you.
Right. Because you have somebody else that'll run the group for you that's an admin. Then you can come back.
And then once you get a new one, they can add you on there.
Absolutely. So yes, I just learned that, and I just did that. I just about 10 or 12 groups and my branded page have an admin on them now.
Nice.
Another admin.
Do that, and then also, like you said, is build your list and get a membership site on Groove. Use Groove Member, and then with the lifetime offer, you will get a membership site, so you can have your courses, and then you can they're having a blog, Groove blog as well. So you can have people, hey, this is my thoughts. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's my First Amendment. So people, your tribe of people, you can keep them updated on your own, your own website, your own blog, your own membership site. And so you eventually, as a marketer, you want to be able to control your list, control your database, and eventually we don't want to have to count on Facebook to give all of our marketing.
Absolutely.
So.
And one other thing I want to give a little bit of advice on before you close out. Keep your social media platforms, the ones that are banning people, keep them happy and entertaining. Don't talk about any of the taboo subjects. Don't talk politics, religion, race, sexuality, anything that they might consider offensive that somebody else could consider offensive. Because if you upset the wrong person, all they have to do is report your post.
Yeah.
And then Facebook sees it. So stay away from those taboo topics. Lesson learned. I will not post another Ruth Bader Ginsburg meme. So
and for all you digital warriors out there that are fighting and getting blocked and, you know, get 1 million followers and then they
right.
ghost you. Yeah, that's, I mean, it is, I guess it's part of the war right now, but the digital.
It absolutely is. One of my mentors, he has a following of millions, and his Facebook page was shut down. He got locked out for 78 days. And he finally got it turned back on. And, but he basically had to commit that he would not be himself anymore on his Facebook page.
Wow.
So he got it back after he was locked out for 78 days. He got his Facebook page back.
Wow. Hey, so Keven, before we close out, do you mind if I pray for you?
Don't mind at all, man.
Okay. Father, we just thank you for this meeting. We thank you for all the listeners. We just bless everyone who's listening and bless Keven right now, even while being persecuted for free speech. We just ask that you bring increase and more provision for anything that was, you know, taken or projects that were supposed to happen. And we just, thank you for his family. Thank you for all the value he's putting out there in the world. And just multiplication of everything he does, the software companies, all the businesses he does, and all the good he puts out there into the world, and really wants to see this world become a better place, leave a legacy, and make it a better place. And we just thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And back at you. What you said for you.
Awesome. I receive it. Well, thank everyone. Happy, what is it today? Thursday?
Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Have a terrific Thursday, and we will see you guys later.
Thank you, sir.
Adios.